Okay, so everything is updated here, and we've explained the rules, tournament mode. One cool thing, I don't know if any of you did this, but I used to sit here and listen to the music on this game. So you got some pomp and circumstance here with Macho Man Randy Savage. Let's go ahead and look through this roster here. So two of my favorite wrestlers growing up, I would say Macho Man when I was a younger kid, and then through most of my life. Oh, well, yeah, here we go. Mr. Perfect's another one of my favorites here. Curt Hennig. Sad too. That's one thing too. As we get older and these games go by, and especially in the realm of pro wrestling and other, we'll say like boxing, those kind of sports where people have. We lose some of our great ones earlier. So you have The Undertaker, you've got Bret Hart, so that's my all-time favorite wrestler there. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, or whatever you want to say. Entertaining interviews these days. You have Tatanka, you've got Crush. I actually did a practice run with Crush yesterday, and I'm like, it's too hard to use. You have Ric Flair, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, so that's when he first turned heel. This was after he split with Marty Jannetty. We've got Razor Ramon, another one of my favorites. Yokozuna. I actually have some of these wrestling figures down in the basement too. I probably should have brought them out for this marathon. It would have been fun. So Yokozuna, who again, if you look where it says he's from Polynesia, and really he's part of the bloodline. So anybody that watches wrestling right now, he is related to the folks like Roman Reigns and the Uso brothers and Rikishi, Fatu, and all them. So that he is part of that lineage, and The Rock and those guys. So some of them are related by blood, some of them by family, like marriage and stuff. You've got the narcissist Lex Luger. You've got Ted DiBiase. So Lex Luger, I believe, turned face in the Sega Genesis version of the game. That's when he was the Lex Express, Stars and Stripes Forever, or whatever song they were playing for him. And he body slammed Yokozuna. Then we have the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. No IRS in this game because he's in the Sega Genesis version. Alright, so my choices here. I'm going to go with either Macho Man, Mr. Perfect, or Bret Hart. I think the last time I did a record on this, for my personal best, was Bret Hart. We're going to try to put Curt Hennig over here. So it says here that the timer starts when you gain control of your character. I might be starting this when you gain control of your character. So that's probably when the bell rings. So my time is going to be slightly off. I'm just going to hit start early and let the admins figure that one out. So you figure here I'm adding in a little bit of extra time, adding about 8, 9, 10 seconds. Wow, that is a lot. Alright, so what we're going to try to do is throw them out of the ring, and now we're just going to cheese, and you're allowed to eye gouge and choke outside of the ring, which is pretty silly. The ref can see you, but then when you're in the ring, you got to knock the ref out to do that. So Curt Hennig, for those of you that followed his career, he decided not to. I mean, he could have easily been world champion in WWF or WCW. He opted out of that. Always put other people over. Okay, so DiBiase's down there. Wow, barely beat that. That was pretty close. Okay, so this is good so far. That's a good one there. Okay, and now we have Bret Hart. Throw him out. Okay, eye gouge. I've done different strategies with kicks and punches and body slams and suplexes and stuff, and I think the eye gouges and chokes seem to work best, so I'm going to go with that and hope that it works on this run. Okay, so this is cutting it close here, Bret Hart. Okay, come on, Mr. Perfect, get over there. Alright. So far, so good. So, technically, I may have added about 10 seconds at the beginning because I started it with the selection and not the gaining control of the rep. Oh, there we go. That's one botch there. Can we hip toss him? All right, so we're going to clean that up. That lost maybe about 3 seconds on that there, not being able to toss him out. You can get the person to run at you and then just hip toss him to start off the bat. I've found that sometimes I screw up on that, or sometimes I'll do a clothesline when I'm trying to grapple, because that's the X button is the same button for grapple and clothesline. Okay, so Tatanka, here we go. We've got him here in the corner. Okay, I may have done that slightly early, but that gives me a little bit of time to recover. Okay. Yeah, so out of these wrestlers, too, for this game, I think I may have had all the action figures, actually, which is really weird. Oh, there's that clothesline I was talking about. Okay. Okay, that's where it's not realistic. Yokozuna, you're not going to see that Yokozuna getting thrown out like that. Okay, oh, come on, there we go. So I just got to reorient Yokozuna to the other side. You'll notice that he's slimmed down from his photo here. I guess with the pixels, the graphics, they had some difficulty getting Yokozuna as that big. But if you have the wrestling figure from back in the days of, I believe that was Hasbro, they nailed it with his size. They actually got it to scale. Whereas like somebody like Ric Flair was too skinny. I had both of those figures, so. Alright. Undertaker. Yeah, so you can play that fun game too of what were these guys' names when they wrestled in other leagues, other federations. Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall were tag team partners, so he and Razor Ramon. And then they actually did have a little bit of them interacting in WWF when Scott Hall first joined. So that was kind of fun. Mean Mark Calloway, or Mean Mark Callis, I guess, was they double downed on the name for the Undertaker. He's had some other ones. There's some cool matches. If you go on YouTube, you'll see him wrestle in those other leagues like the USWA and other stuff. All right, Shawn Michaels putting up a good challenge. Shawn Michaels was one of the people that Kurt Hennig put over. I really thought they were going to give Hennig a run with the Intercontinental belt as a face back in the mid-90s when he came back from that back injury. But, yeah. He definitely was a pro's pro. But also, note to self, stay away from, don't do drugs, all that stuff. You learn from... unfortunately, from some of these athletes and folks, they've had some rough rides. Come on! Oh, wow, barely got that there. This is going way better than my run with Crush when I was playing yesterday as like a final practice. Oh, but leave it to Macho Man to grapple strong here. Almost wore my Macho Man t-shirt here, but I left it in the drawer here. Okay. So you got the eye gouging. So again, just like what the comment was made during NBA Jam, imagine you paid for front row seats and then you're getting the same exact ending. Like, what kind of booking is this? All the podcasters, doesn't matter if it's Jim Cornette or Russo or Bischoff. Oh, it's going to be a double count out. I botched that. Double count out. Double disqualification. And we lost. All right, so that's the end of that run there. We are ahead of schedule, so I think to get it back, let's see, yeah, Stunning Steve Austin. He was the ringmaster. Trying to think of some of these other names that these guys were under. He almost was like Otto von Ruthless and Ice Dagger and whatever stuff before he was Stone Cold. Amazing how that works. Okay, so looking at the schedule, the next game is at 9:27. So, okay, so we are ahead of schedule. So what we're going to do, we're going to reboot. I'm going to, because the baseball one I think is the most attainable out of these ones, I'm going to switch back to baseball. So I'm just going to put a note here in the chat. We'll switch back to baseball fastest. It's going to say fattest loss, I think, because I typed it wrong, but fastest loss. All right, so let's go ahead and go back. So we are going to load recent games here. I'm in SNES 9X 1.60. I did fire up the Super Nintendo maybe like a month ago to play the Home Run Derby on Griffey. So that was interesting, playing that on Tube TV and stuff. But yeah, so we're going to go back to Griffey Baseball here. We're going to go ahead. Yeah, Fang McFrost. any interviews that you find with Stone Cold when he talks about those lost gimmicks, I feel bad, like, for those of you that follow, like, let's say AEW and FTR and the gimmick that Vinnie Mac was trying to give them with it was some kind of, like, they were trying to make them like not like Abbott and Costello though, but like a lame version of them, and it looked really bad. So, okay, sounds good. All right, so our next person will be up after I finish up here, so we appreciate that. So what I'm going to do here, we will run this Griffey one, and then we will hand it off. So we have a little bit more time, and you can see here the demo is playing here. What they do in the demo here, Snake McMillan, I believe, was supposed to be Kurt Schilling, a young Kurt Schilling, when he was in Philadelphia. So basically, they show Griffey in different. I was going to say arenas, but ballparks is more accurate because they're more outdoor than anything. So you'll see Griffey at different places. Here he is in Minnesota. You'll notice that Philadelphia and Minnesota use the same model. But some of the ballparks, like Cleveland's was really good, and Baltimore had a cool one. Seattle's, like some of them actually played where they made it good. Kansas City's looks kind of bad because they didn't know how to do the waterfalls with the limited graphics. But it was still a good attempt, though. They got it right when they did it on N64. Okay, so what we're going to do here, again, this is MLB Challenge. What the rules are, let me pull that back up on speedrun.com just so we know. So this is one player. We're doing one player versus computer. Okay, it says warning, save game present, select to continue. We'll go ahead and delete this out. Okay, so we have to pick a different team. I think in the spirit of winning run, we are going to go with the Seattle Mariners. And we will use their default lineup as well, but we want to make sure that the options are correct for having a valid speed run for the lose category. And so those of you who missed it, part of what I need to do is to lose on purpose. So what I'm going to do is give up the run at the beginning rather than waiting until the end and forgetting what I'm trying to do. All right, so we can leave the messages on. It has to be 9 innings. It's okay to leave the designated hitter off. There's no ruling on that. Ball marker can stay on. The only thing that needs to be off is auto fielding. That's automatically off to begin with. I would recommend if you play this game, play with it off. It gets kind of boring letting them do the fielding for you. They do have fielder assist, which is allowed, which sort of gets you in the right spot, but still, just like in any baseball game, they put you in the wrong spot. So that's why it's good to have it where you control